The top stories tonight in Y News. President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos believes it is high time to end the requirement for wearing masks indoors.
Parts of Mindanao suffers power interruption after a transmission tower bombing in Lanao del Norte.
The sister of one of the alleged middlemen in the killing of journalist Percy Lapin has given names that may have been masterminds behind the crime.
Rishi Sunak was appointed as Britain's third Prime Minister following a meeting with King Charles III at Buckingham Palace.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Tuesday, October 25, 2022. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am William Theo.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Harleen Delgado.
First in the news. Tourism Secretary Cristina Frasco announced that President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. will issue an executive order making the wearing of face masks indoors voluntary. Nel Maribohok will tell us why.
The mandatory wearing of face mask indoors is set to be lifted and will be made voluntary all over the country. Tourism Secretary Cristina Frasco said this was reached during a cabinet meeting earlier in the day, and President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is expected to issue an executive order declaring the use of face mask indoors as voluntary.
It was agreed and that the President would be issuing an executive order per the IATF recommendation to make indoor mask wearing also voluntary all over the Philippines with few exceptions.
According to the Secretary, wearing face masks will still be highly encouraged for unvaccinated individuals, persons with comorbidities, and senior citizens. In addition, the government also intends to remove the remainder of COVID-19 stringent protocols for foreign tourists.
The requirement of pre-departure testing into the Philippines in the form of an RT-PCR would also be removed. In addition to this, as far as unvaccinated foreigners are concerned, they would henceforth be allowed entry into the Philippines with only the requirement of presenting an antigen test 24 hours taken before departure, or an option of taking an antigen test upon arrival into the Philippines.
The DOT chief assured that the impending lifting of the mandatory wearing of masks indoors was extensively discussed during the meeting of IATF with other cabinet members last week. She pointed out that the XBB Omicron subvariant and the XBC variant are not very first variants of the pandemic, and that the Department of Health has been very aggressive in vaccination campaigns. Nel Maribohok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Starting tomorrow, provincial buses in Araneta City Bus Terminal will be relocated at a new bus port. JP Nunez tells us why.
The management of Araneta City Bus Terminal decided to relocate provincial buses from Araneta City Bus Terminal to the new Araneta City Bus Port. This is located steps away from the old terminal at the lower ground floor of the Manhattan Heights Tower D along Romulo Avenue, Araneta City across Ali Mall. Starting tomorrow at 4 a.m., all provincial buses which are traveling to Pampanga, Batangas, and Laguna will be relocated at the new terminal. Araneta City Bus Terminal Manager Ramon Legaspi explained that the old terminal will be utilized for public utility jeep and some city buses. He also said that the new terminal setup could ease the burden of passengers going to provinces, especially those who will be carrying luggages. Meanwhile, Land Transportation Office's inspection as part of the campaign on safe travel this long weekend resulted to prohibition of 3 buses in the National Capital Region to take their trip. LTO enforcers discovered that these buses have defective taillights, no PWD stickers, having no smoking signs, and lacking seat belts. Among them was inspected at the Araneta City Bus Terminal, while the other one is on a bus terminal in Manila. However, the LTO did not issue a ticket but only served them warning. According to LTO, they will resume issuing ticket after the long weekend.
Hindi natin papabiyahin, pero hindi naman natin sila ulihin. No? Ang tutok natin dito is that more of remedial. Kasi halimbawa, defective light, ang gusto lang natin doon, ipaayos yung ilaw para may allow natin na makapagbiyahe.
JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Meanwhile, a Hog Raisers group is optimistic on how the government implements measures to control the spread of African swine fever. They also believe that the cases of ASF in Iloilo will not cause a major impact in the pork supply. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
From 12.5 million, the population of hog in the country went down to as low as 9.5 million due to the effect of African swine fever since 2019, according to Chester Warrenton, the chairman of the National Federation of Hog Farmers Incorporated. But this year, it increased by 500,000, he noted. This is after some of the infected areas already engaged in repopulation.
We have a brighter side, no? Nakikita natin na umi-increase na. Lalo po dito sa Luzon, marami na pong nagre-repop. Dahan-dahan po.
But the group calls on the government to fast-track the establishment of first border inspection. Tan said that this will immediately cut their work by 50% in securing the possible entry of pork and pork products possibly infected by ASF. The Philippines is now using the second border inspection, the group added.
Pag lumabas po ng first border yon, napakahirap na po para sa atin para mag-inspect sa second border kasi po nasa mga warehouses na po yan, second border, o baka nandun na po yan sa mga papuntang mga consumer. So it's really hard for the BAI or even the NMIS to inspect.
Tan also hoping that the new cases of ASF in 2 towns in Iloilo won't affect the supply of pork in the country because there are other provinces in Western Visayas that can supply the demand.
Not the whole Iloilo are affected. There are isolated cases inside Iloilo. Remember, yung Western Visayas or the Region 6, marami po ang nakasakop dyan.
The group also asked the government to fund the indemnification for farmers that will be hit by the virus. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Philippine Association of Salt Industry Networks has warned that 96% of the country's salt requirements may be imported by 2030. During a House committee hearing, the salt producer urged lawmakers to revitalize the country's salt industry, especially when it is a national food security issue. Pilasin President Gerard Conghun reiterated that salt is vital. Without it, the Philippines might be vulnerable to a food supply chain crisis. He also noted that more salt farms are needed to be developed to prevent more importation in the future. Conghun also lamented that the decline of the salt industry was also due to lands being converted to residential, commercial, and industrial areas. The country's current consumption of salt is at 600,000 to 683,000 tons annually.
And for the news abroad, Ukrainian authorities are claiming continued success in shooting down Russia's drones, while the Kremlin is giving warning of possible dirty bomb detonation. Joselito Liquido will tell us the details live. Yes, Joselito?
No, Ukrainian forces claim that they have been successful in shooting down more than two-thirds of the approximately 330 Iranian-made Shahed drones that Russia has sent so far. The Kyiv Independent on Monday reported that according to the Ukraine's intelligence service head, Kirill Budanov, this is just part of the 1,700 drones that Russia has ordered, according to their intelligence, with another 300 Shaheds being rolled out. However, both Russia and Iran have denied that the Iranian-built drone were being used, but evidences of the triangle-shaped drone remains raining down in Kyiv and other parts of Ukraine says otherwise. Britain's Ministry of Defense said that there is a high chance that Russia will send in more drones as Ukrainian air defenses has vastly improved and the drones will be used as to substitute for the Russian long-range weapons, which has been scarce as of late. Meanwhile, Russian Foreign Minister said in a statement that they have reliable evidence to discuss at the United Nations Security Council that Ukraine is planning to detonate a dirty bomb as a form of provocation. However, the United Kingdom, France, and the United States issued a joint statement rejecting Russia's claim as transparently false. Marielle?
Thank you, Joselito Liquido, reporting live. Children's hospitals in parts of the United States are seeing an alarming increase in respiratory syncytial virus or RSV that can cause severe breathing problems among babies. Nerissa Dando tells us the details live. Yes, Nerissa, go ahead.
Good evening, Marielle. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, a common respiratory illness during the cold season but can cause major threats among babies, is on the rise in some parts of the United States. In Houston alone, more than 40 children suffered from RSV, and a total of more than 7,000 positive cases were reported last week, according to the Centers for Disease Control. Doctors from Connecticut, Houston, and South Carolina with reported RSV surges are now bracing for the possibility that RSV, flu, and COVID-19 could combine to stress hospitals. Dr. Juan Salazar of Connecticut Children's Hospital said that playrooms and other spaces not normally used for beds have been used to treat our children with RSV and called the situation an emergency. Babies who suffered from RSV are struggling to breathe, which can also interfere with eating, and according to Dr. Melanie Kitagawa of Texas Children's Hospital, vulnerable people suffering from RSV are contagious for up to 4 weeks. Experts are advising a thorough washing of hands and staying home when you're sick to prevent the spread of the virus. Marielle?
Nerissa, is there a vaccine for RSV, and what's the treatment like for this kind of illness, especially for babies?
Marielle, as of the moment, there is no specific treatment, and according to doctors, most RSV infections go away on their own in a week or two, so it's really just a matter of letting the virus run its course, and doctors may prescribe oral steroids and an inhaler to make breathing easier. Marielle, babies with a high risk of RSV are given a medicine called palivizumab. This is given to premature infants and young children with certain heart and lung conditions. And Marielle, unfortunately, no vaccine is available yet, although researchers are developing vaccines and antivirals, and several candidates are in testing. Marielle?
All right, thank you, Nerissa Dando, for that live report. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, Harleen and William.
Thank you, Marielle. The Department of Health, as well as other sectors, still urge the public to wear face masks in indoor settings. Asha Kadapan Jr. tells us why.
Vaccination, masking, distancing, ventilation, and sanitation, as well as taking care of one's health, are the primary ways in protecting oneself against COVID-19. The more layers of protection employed, the more protected a person is against the disease. The Department of Health explains this as the palace confirms that President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. will be issuing an executive order to allow voluntary wearing of face masks in indoor settings. The DOH further explains it is therefore important that citizens assess individual risk thoroughly before deciding if it is safe and wise to remove their masks. This is while the UNDAS and holiday season are approaching and increased COVID-19 transmission brought about by greater mobility are expected.
Clear sa amin that we want to continue encouraging people, no? Parang hindi kayo pinagbabawal na mag-wear ng mask. There is also a process, no, for decisions to be made, and we are part of an entire task force.
Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines Incorporated also emphasizes the importance of wearing a face mask.
Whatever it is, whether it's COVID, flu, or other airborne diseases, nakakatulong talaga itong wearing of mask.
The Philippine Hotel Owners Association Incorporated says they will comply with the EO in their establishments.
In general, I think what is important here is that we assure our clients that the minimum public health standards are being followed. That's the important thing. And on our part, on the side of the hotel, that is the assurance that we can provide our guests, that we will always adhere to the highest standards, when it comes to hygiene and sanitation.
The Supermarkets Association favors the easing policy but will continue to maintain stringent measures, especially among their personnel.
Now, we at the retail sector would appreciate that, of course, so that there'll be more people out there, the money will be moving around our economy. However, we are also encouraging people to still wear their masks, lalo na sa lugar na medyo maraming tao, which is inside the supermarket.
Meanwhile, some supermarket goers say they are not yet ready in removing their face masks in indoor settings.
Para sa akin, mas okay pa rin magsuot ng face mask para maprotektahan pa rin yung sarili natin.
Kahit hindi na mandatory, mas gusto ko pa rin nagsusuot kasi mas pa rin nandun pa rin yung takot ko Kaya para sa kalusugan ko rin, gano'n. Mabuti na yung nag-iingat.
Asher Cadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
In other news, several areas in Mindanao suffer from rotational power interruption after a transmission tower in Lanao del Norte was bombed Monday afternoon. Based on the report of the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, the affected areas are Zamboanga Peninsula, Misamis Occidental, and parts of Lanao del Norte. Meanwhile, the incident is already under investigation. According to the NGCP, the agency is also working with law enforcers and the military to secure the area for repair.
More details emerged about the murder against broadcaster Percy Lapin as the deceased middleman June Villamore's sister provided authorities with crucial information in the case. Leia Ilagan tells us why.
The Special Investigation Task Group, or SITG, needs to obtain an affidavit from June Villamore's sister regarding the text message she received before her brother died inside the New Bilibid prison. The statement of Villamore's sister will be used by the SITG as further proof in Percy Lapin case. SITG Supervisor Police Brigadier General Kirby John Craft said they will coordinate with the DOJ to allow Villamore's sister to execute an affidavit.
So tayo po sa SITG ay hinahanap po natin siya at nalaman natin nasa DOJ siya. So gagawa po tayo ng komunikasyon po sa DOJ na payagan po tayo na makunan po ng ating mga investigador ng affidavit itong kapatid po ni Villamor. At nang sa ganun po ay maisama natin ito bilang supplemental evidences.
DOJ spokesperson Assistant Secretary Miko Clavano confirms that Villamore's sister named names of those involved in the killing, but he refused to say it in public.
Diba? Pero all these are allegations as of now. So we have to verify, we have to vet. Kaya ongoing ho yung vetting at verification ho natin.
Clavano also said that Villamore's sister is now under the Witness Protection Program.
Nakita na yung information nga relevant dun sa kaso natin, dun sa pagpatay ng kapatid niya. And agad-agad namin tinawag yung Witness Protection para sila din ay gumawa ng isang interview doon sa witness natin. At yung yung purpose naman nun ay tignan natin kung yung risk dun sa buhay niya ay mataas. So nakita naman na meron ng risk dun sa buhay niya. So agad namin pinasok sa Witness Protection Program and dinala agad siya dun sa temporary shelter.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the camp of Model Denise Cornejo or the prosecution failed to present their third witness in today's bail hearing related to the rape case filed against TV host and actor Bong Navarro today. Dante Amento reports why.
Attorney Howard Calleja, legal counsel of Denise Cornejo, explained they are supposed to present in today's hearing another witness, Ana Roma, but she did not arrive in court. Thus, the presentation of the prosecution's third witness in Bong Navarro's petition for bail is waived.
Today, our supposed witness galing sa out of town, galing probinsya, so hindi nakarating yung ating testigos.
Attorney Calleja added they will still present two witnesses in the next hearings. There are only two hearings left on November 7 and 10. Navarro's camp, on the other hand, stressed they already want to face Cornejo in the cross-examination.
Hindi sila handa kasi wala yung witness nila. So, na-waive yung presentation ni Ms. Ana Roma. So they have only two witnesses to present. Mr. Jed Fernandez and Ms. Denise Cornejo. This will be on November 7 and November 10. Tapos na tayo.
Meanwhile, Navarro's wife, Tanya, joined the bail hearing today to give some clarifications over the alleged threats against the security of her husband. This is in connection with motion filed by Navarro that he will not be transferred to the BGMP facility due to security risk.
So abangan na lang siguro natin yung desisyon ni Judge kung ililipat o hindi. Kasi yun na lang naman po ang nangyari.
Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
As the United Kingdom faces profound economic challenges, the new Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has requested for stability and unity. From London, United Kingdom, here's Giona Privado to give us the details live. Good evening, Giona.
Yes, Marielle. Former Chancellor Rishi Sunak has won the Conservative leadership race after his opponent Penny Mordaunt, a cabinet minister, withdrew last minute as she was unsuccessful in securing adequate backing from MPs. The new UK Prime Minister has requested for unity as the UK faces a profound economic challenge. The Prime Minister Sunak is the first Hindu-British Asian Prime Minister and the youngest for more than 2 centuries at the age of 42. He is due to take office on Tuesday following the formal appointment by King Charles III. This after 45 days of former Prime Minister Liz Truss's resignation. Prime Minister Sunak will take on duties at a time of economic crisis and pressures on the public finances, which was aggravated by the former PM's mini-budget proposal. The new Prime Minister stated in a closed-door speech that United Kingdom is a great country, however, it is undoubtedly facing an extreme economic challenge. He later mentioned that the UK now needs stability and unity, and he will make it his utmost priority to bring the party and the country together. Meanwhile, despite the difficult situations the country is facing, former prime ministers and lawmakers, as well as President of the United States, Joe Biden, have expressed their congratulations and full support to the new UK Prime Minister's leadership. Back to you, Marielle.
Thank you, Giona Privado, reporting live from London, United Kingdom. Two Chinese nationals are accused of paying thousands of dollars in cash and jewelry to impede a federal probe into a significant telecoms business. Marvi Dolphin will tell us why live. Yes, Marvi.
Marielle, two Chinese men identified as Gao Chunhe and Zhang Wang are accused of attempting to recruit a U.S. official to provide confidential case information by paying $61,000 worth of Bitcoin in bribes, including cash and jewelry. It was then revealed that the U.S. official, whom they believed was an intelligence asset, was an FBI double agent. The charges were announced yesterday in a press conference at Brooklyn, New York, that featured the rare joint presence of FBI Director Christopher Wray and U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland. The company being investigated by the U.S. Justice Department was not disclosed, but U.S. media outlets have made references to Chinese tech giant Huawei, who has just been indicted for financial fraud, trade secret theft, and sanctions violations. FBI Director Wray says China's economic assaults and their rights violations are part of the same problem, while Attorney General Garland states that the cases clearly show China's efforts to interfere with the rights and freedoms of individuals in the U.S. and to undermine the judicial system that protects those rights. Attorney General Garland then separately announced charges against 4 other Chinese nationals for using the cover of an academic institute to try to procure sensitive technology and equipment, while an additional 2 were arrested and 5 others charged with harassment. Meanwhile, Huawei and the Chinese embassy in Washington have not released any messages yet regarding the matter. Back to you, Marielle.
Thank you, Marvi Dolphin, reporting live. Tesla is reversing a trend of increases in the auto industry in China by cutting starter prices for some of its models. The prices for the Tesla Model 3 and the Model Y cars have been cut by as much as 9%, according to listings posted on their Chinese website on Monday. The price cuts are the first by Tesla in China this year, which followed Chief Executive Elon Musk's comment last week that China is experiencing a recession of sorts. China Merchants Bank International, or CMBI, said the electric vehicle giant's price cuts highlight the growing competitive risk for electric automakers in China, with industry-wide sales expected to slow into 2023. Tesla stated that it was adjusting prices following the improved capacity utilization at its Shanghai Gigafactory and its stable supply chains, which has led to lower costs. The company is now China's 3rd best-selling electric vehicle maker and is the only foreign brand in the top 15 list by the China Passenger Car Association. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Mariela Toza reporting live from Perth, Australia. Good evening.
A Senate panel has approved 2 education-related bills seeking to help poor students and families in their expenses. This report will tell us why.
The Senate Committee on Higher, Technical and Vocational Education approved today a bill seeking to impose a moratorium on the collection of student loan payments during times of disasters and emergencies. Senate Bill 975, filed by Senator Lito Lapid, aims to ease the burden of disaster-stricken families who have incurred student loans and debts. The Coordinating Council of Private Educational Associations, or COCOPEA, has no objection on the bill. However, it sought for clarification whether or not promissory notes will be covered by the bill, noting the possible negative effects to private schools should promissory notes be included in the moratorium.
For private higher education institutions, this will paralyze operations of private higher education institutions, especially during times of pandemic or calamities where They also need to support the salaries and compensation of its employees and the operation of these schools.
Senator Francis Cheese Escudero, who chairs the committee, clarifies that promissory notes will not be included and that the moratorium will only apply to student loans.
It does not cover, and let it appear in the record, that the bill will not cover promissory notes. This will only cover the student loan program and postponements of payments or a moratorium in the payment of the student loan program.
Under the bill, collection of student loans shall be deferred for a reasonable period when state of calamity or emergency is declared by the president or by local government units. The moratorium will continue for 30 days from the termination of said state of calamity or emergency. Escudero also suggested several amendments to the measure, including the removal of Section 7, which seeks to apply the law retroactively to students affected by the state of public health emergency due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Unified Student Financial Assistance System for Tertiary Education, or UNIFAST, also expressed support on the bill, noting that it has yet to implement its student loan program. Meanwhile, the Senate panel also approved the proposed measure seeking to mandate free college entrance examination to deserving students. House Bill 5001 seeks to waive college entrance examination fees to underprivileged graduating high school students and high school students belonging to the top 10% of their graduating class. The bill was approved on third and final reading by the House of Representatives last month. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. directed the Department of Information and Communication Technology, or DICT, to offer scholarships for students of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, the STEM track program. In a statement, Office of the Press Secretary, OIC, Undersecretary Cheloy Garafil said, the President wants to address the lack of talent for information and communications technology businesses in the country. Garafil added that the President has directed DICT Secretary Ivan John Uy to coordinate and determine the specific needs of industry players and address jobs mismatch. This was after Uy noted the ICT industry's observations on the shortfall in students taking up STEM courses and on the lack of the right tools and training among IT graduates. Meanwhile, the Department of Science and Technology Science Education Institute urged interested grade 12 students to apply for the 2023 undergraduate scholarship program. This program is open to STEM students and non-STEM students among the top 5% of their graduating class.
A health expert explains teens who spend too much time using their gadgets tend to have low physical activity. Eileen Cerudo will tell us why.
The country had 2 years of community quarantine due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Physician and healthcare reform advocate Dr. Anthony Liechon said, since most adolescents have to stay at home, they use their gadgets to pass the time.
Dahil wala tayo kasing face-to-face classes, na humaling ang mga bata sa mga games, no? Nakikita natin yung games sila sa social media, nakikita nila using their gadgets, their tablets and all, no? Kaya sila po ay napupuyat.
In a 2022 report of the World Health Organization, 81% of adolescents in the world are physically inactive. In WHO's 2019 research, meanwhile, the Philippines ranked second in the most physically inactive adolescents with 93.4%. Dr. Liachon also said the country has limited parks, bike lanes, and other places for exercise, which can discourage the public to do physical activity. He also warns the public that an adolescent can become obese due to lack of sleep and excessive use of gadgets.
Pag mapupuyat ka, tumataba din ang pasyente. May malaking correlation pagka ang pasyente ay puyat at hindi nakakatulog kasi ang tendency mo, matagal ka rin nakaupo tapos di ka kumakain ka pa.
Physical inactivity can also lead to other diseases such as stroke and heart disease. It can also cause depression or anxiety. In the past 2 years, Dr. Liachon reported more individuals had a stroke and succumbed to heart attack.
Hindi rin paggalaw can also cause mental health problems kasi hindi nakaka-release yung endorphins, which is the happy hormone.
Dr. Liacho recommends a 30-minute exercise per day in order to have a healthy lifestyle. Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Our kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity.
Good day. I'm Brother Eli Soriano of the members of the Church of God International. I want to invite you to join us in a minute of prayer every day to pray for humanity and the whole world as we go through these perilous times. While safety measures like washing of hands and strengthening of our immune systems may help us through this horrible predicament, there is still no precaution or cure more powerful than God's mighty intervention. And we need His intervention now more than ever. It doesn't matter what religion you are in or what denomination you belong. This is an invitation for all the people around the world who cares for the future of their family, friends, loved ones, and humanity as a whole. Everybody is welcome to pray with us. For more details, you can check out the description box below. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you soon. May God bless you.
Before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of Romans, chapter 10, verse 10, it says, "For with the heart man believed unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation." Reasons behind the news, October 25, 2022. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Harding Delgado.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.